Hello and welcome to May 2020 Energy Trends. I'm Danielle Rama Hoffman of divinetransmissions.com. This is Toth with an expanded Council of Light moving more into the forefront of this divine transmission. We are delighted to be continuing our energy trends conversation in the month of May. This is a 5-month. The energy of 2020 has a lot of twos in it, two twos, two zeros, two 20s. So as you are just completing the month of April, 4-month, 2020 being a 4-year, there is a sense of the support or nourishment for the highest potential that's available in 2020 to be realized by the energies that are cultivated and expanded into in the month of May. What we would speak about first is this idea of environment. Is this idea of you as a creator being? Is this idea of you as a creator being in alignment with your choice, staying connected to your true north of the environment or the vibration that is optimal for you? So there is a deepening into what it is that we mean by environment. A lotus flower or a lily pad has an environment that is optimal for it to thrive within. An orchid has a different environment that the orchid flourishes in. You can use whatever example comes to you. And that this idea of environment is one in which when you place the seed of the infinite potential in the optimal environment, then everything within the seed has the infinite potential to become what it is, to come to full fruition. So the tomato seed has everything within it to become the tomato. So when we're talking about environment, and we're using these examples in your third dimensional reality, there can be this recognition or this awareness of also the vibration of environment, the aspect of environment that's vibrational, which gets us back to you being a creative being and you being in your optimal environment regardless of what's going on around you. So in the old paradigm, the earth star in duality, and we know that survival consciousness is coming to the surface more than ever, like the pond that turns over, that the muck on the bottom comes up to the top. And so visibly, there may be this survival consciousness that seems to be even more amplified, and that there is also this recognition that duality is not the energy that you need to be running your environment, your vibration from any longer. So in duality, in survival consciousness, there is this possibility that becomes limited into two things: life or death, health or disease, abundance or poverty, right or wrong, good or bad, connected, disconnected. So the positive charge, the negative charge. So in the old paradigm, there is this sense of each one of these canceling each other out. So let's say you are in a high vibration, you are steeping like the orchid in your environment that's very rich and nourishing and fertile, and those around you are, perhaps they are a cactus, or they are a fire, or they are an oak tree. They have their different environment. And it doesn't mean that you join theirs. It doesn't mean that one is canceling out the other. So part of what we would invite you to focus on in the month of May in particular is really staying aligned vibrationally in your thoughts, in your actions, in your emotions, with the environment that's very nourishing for you, that is very aligned for you. Now, we're not saying put your head in the sand like an ostrich, or to not be seeing others' environment or that which is unfolding on the Earth star. Yet what we're saying is that while you are with others and you're seeing what else is happening, you're not leaving your environment and going into theirs. You're not like the hermit crab that is in your optimal shell. You're not coming out of that shell and then going to live in the pond trying to be a tadpole. So there is this commitment, this focus, this choice, and this possibility to also recognize what is currently in the environment that actually is your super nutrient vibrations and fuel for what it is that you're on the Earth star to be and do and have. So when you incarnated in the old paradigm of separation consciousness, there were a lot of aspects of your highest level gifts that were trying to be expressed in an environment that wasn't really a match for it, or conducive for it. The vibration was slower, and there are overlays of fear and doubt and lack and so on. And now this is the time that you have been preparing for. This is the time where your new paradigm gifts and tools and awarenesses are in an environment that are a match for them. So in the Tablets of Light book, we talk about this in terms of you being born with a vision and certain gifts, your unique divine design, is what we speak about it in the book, and that your unique divine design may be like a scuba suit that you have a mask and an oxygen tank and the flippers and the whole suit, and you come into an environment that's on land. And after a while, you stop carrying around the scuba suit. And then fast forward to 2020, and all of a sudden, the Earth star becomes water. The environment for the gifts that you're really born and cultivated and designed with now are in a vibrational environment where they work well, where there is that match. So whether you look at this from the hertz, HERTZ, of the earth, and that the frequency of the earth has sped up much faster than ever before, and that what it is that you're here for, you as an energy being, you're vibrating, and your gifts are vibrating at a faster frequency. So that faster frequency can work even better now because there's a faster frequency that then can be matched. So we know that there's much that's pulling your attention to look at what seems to be broken or to look at what is disintegrating. Yet we'd invite you to focus very much on now what is possible that wasn't possible before. Now, what is in that perfect environment to flourish, to come into fruition? What's emerging? Now, as we look at the shift in individuals' activities, and that most individuals on the Earth star have been homebound. You've come back into your home, whether that's with kids or without kids, with a spouse or without spouse, with extended family or not, with someone or living alone, whether that is in the country that you were born in or not, whether that is where you can continue the work that you had been doing up to this point, or that work has gone away, whatever that is, there's been this, okay, you're back in your own environment. There's been this, what's being talked about as social distancing. You're not physically present with large numbers of individuals, or perhaps even anybody. And so then you're steeping in your vibration. You're even more physically in your own aura, in your own field of consciousness. From the yogic perspective, that the aura, as it's in its radiance, is 9 feet in all directions. Now, you're a multidimensional being. You don't need to only have your awareness connected to 9 feet in all directions. Yet let's just use that as an example, that before you're 9 feet in all directions, you go to work, and let's say you work with 3,000 individuals, their 9 feet and your 9 feet are physically in vibrational overlap. And for those of you that are highly attuned and energetically sensitive, there may have been the sense of what's mine, what's not. Now, it doesn't stop when your 9 feet isn't bumping up or overlapping with everybody's 9 feet, because ultimately there is this recognition of individualized oneness. You're one cell in the trillions of cells, and you're interconnected, and you're communicating multidimensionally and telepathically and all of these things that are available. Yet there is this real reboot, reset, and to really be even more clear. What is your conducive environment? Maybe it's working from home. maybe it's now you're communicating in ways that are much more efficient. Recently, Danielle had a meeting with her accountant, and usually the meeting happens in person, takes 2 hours and 12 minutes, and it was done. So what it was done in terms of them both needing to be together on Zoom. So what also gets to speed up, because there are other environments that are now available. And just to be noticing, we're using some of these examples, yet just to be noticing as well what now gets to be possible. Really be leaning in, be a detective, an anthropologist, have your curiosity, your observer really turned on, and just notice in your daily life, in your experience, what also has reorganized or shifted, that there may have been perhaps not enough time with family, or Danielle's thinking as well of other individuals that she knows, where maybe the family in the previous environment, one of the partners was traveling all the time for work. Now at home and families together. So we invite you to focus on really environment, what's now possible, what's being added to your life. Perhaps you had a sense of not having enough time, and maybe you commuted to work for 2 hours a day. Now you're working from home. That 2 hours is added. And then what gets to happen? So we know that we're speaking about a lot of things at once, and yet to really be focusing on also staying to your true north. You are a creator being. You are your own orbit. You are connected to your own universal principles and frequencies and vibrations. The sun is the sun, Jupiter is Jupiter, the moon is the moon, Mars is Mars, Venus is Venus. And yes, they're all a part of the same solar system that has opened up to be a part of larger galaxies, yet they don't change their properties. Earth has gravity. Earth is made up primarily of water. You are made up primarily of water. Of course, your energy. Yet the Earth doesn't start to become the environment of the sun, or doesn't try to say, oh, Jupiter, you look like you're all alone there, or you're working really hard, or you're shining so bright. Maybe I can try to take some of my light and give it to you. So just really, in a way that you're mindful, almost with a hypervigilance, almost with that anthropologist, detective, really alert kind of way, notice when you sacrifice unconsciously the environment, or you leave your unique environment and join someone else's. Now, what we're also saying is that there is this being vibrationally connected in your conducive environment, no matter what. Now that's a deeper connection and awareness. It's a deeper connection or awareness. So as we're completing, we invite you to just play a game and be on the lookout for fives. Where do you notice fives Maybe you notice there's a 5 in your phone number. Maybe you notice there's a 5 on your clock when you look at it. Maybe you notice there's a 5 in your bank account number, in your tax number, or that you notice that there's a 5 as a part of your address, or you notice that you have 5 cats, or that you bought 5 apples. And just whenever there's that sparking with 5, however it's showing up, just have it be an invitation to notice now what is an even better environment that's very exciting, what becomes available, and then also just to be in your unique environment. So we are extending our acknowledgement and appreciation to your contribution to the evolution in consciousness. All is light and love, and we are all.